Hello, everybody. Welcome to Companio's monthly Q&A. If you just give us a moment, we're just trying to set something up for you. My name is Jonathan. I'm the customer support manager. And yeah, while we just setting up, if I can ask you, um, we'll go through some processes with you, for you, and then we'll move on to our Q&A session. When we do, please will you write your questions in the Q&A block and not in the chat. I won't be able to see the chat, so please in the Q&A section. Thank you. So in today's Q&A session, we are going to discuss how to set up your company with Companio. There we go. And the happy colleague you see with me is our CEO, Ignacio, CEO and founder of Companio. So you have us today. And yes, now we can get started. So welcome to our monthly Q&A session. You can go to the next one. Yeah, so we're going to go through how to set up a company with Companio. We'll explain the 3 stages to open your company with us. So the first one is company registration. It can be done through our online form in just 5 minutes. It's very user-friendly. And so the first step is actually checking your company name in order to have the company registered. You know, the name might be registered elsewhere. But yeah, so you've got that. It's easy to access. And I mean, it doesn't take very long to get notified if your company name is already in use. The next is the company registration. It's the members' information. So that would be you as the business owner. And also if you've got other members of the company, you would be able to add them there. So the company registration fee is €390 plus VAT. And it's an extra €50 plus VAT per additional shareholder. At the moment, we are running a special, so it's €265 plus VAT and €50 per extra additional shareholder. And then the company activation. It's the contract signing, that's with us, the registration signing, the VAT application, company bank account application. This process takes between 1 and 2 weeks, and we will support you throughout this entire process. We're not going to just leave it up to you to guess what has to happen. We will be with you through that entire process. We have an online chat where you can speak to my team. And we also have a ticketing system. Again, you'll speak to my team through those channels. Yes. And then the accounting routine. It really is quite a simple process. So once everything is up and running, you then link your corporate bank account to Companio, your dashboard with Companio. And by the 5th of each month, you should upload all of your invoices for sales and purchases for the previous month. So all of your invoices for June should be uploaded by the 7th of July.
The 5th.
Oh. We have dynamic pricing. It's starting from 79 euros plus VAT per month, and that gives you up to 20 invoices per month. And then it goes up incrementally from there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And is it viable for me to have a company in Estonia? Well, we'll go through some cases, and then you'll be able to see if it is a good solution for your business. So, online activity and location independent. If this is you, it's quite certain that it is for you. So the only exception is dropshipping, Amazon FBA activity, and Companio does not handle licenses for crypto, fintech, or tour operators, but we do provide accounting services to these groups. Yeah. So yes, we're for solopreneurs, digital nomads, freelancers, international startups that are looking to get a base in Europe, and small and medium-sized enterprises. So how do I withdraw money from my company with Companio? This is, I think, the most common question that we get, and there's really only 4 legal ways in which to obtain money from your company. And so number one is dividends. After your first year of running your company, you'll be able to withdraw the dividends, and this can be done once a year. And the company does pay 20% taxes on these dividends. The second option is the contractor. You yourself will be able to invoice your company as a freelancer or as a self-employed person. The next one is as an employee. So Companio, we now have another branch. It's called Companio Work, where we will set up an employment for you in your country of residence. So you would technically be employed by a company in your country of residence, and you would receive your salary through Companio Work. Yeah, the next is digital nomad. You invoice as a freelancer, but you have to make sure that there are no that you're not a tax resident. Your best option is to consult a local tax advisor. Um, you know, we say local tax advisor, but it's advisable to make sure of your country of origin and also your country of residency. Just to make sure that you don't have any tax obligations elsewhere. Yes.
Yeah. Actually,
Actually, this
this is something that we would like to answer. If you have a question, as Jonathan mentioned, do so in the Q&A session. But if we have digital nomads here, we know this is a very kind of complex topic. So we are happy to answer your questions on that behalf of, or any other.
Yes. So we've got one question from Stefan. He says, how about a salary as an owner?
So an owner, for the owner, it works the same way. As Jonathan mentioned, there is the possibility of dividends that's made once a year, usually after we present the annual report. When you know that there is profit in the company, you can distribute that profit as dividends. And the second option is if you are already a freelancer in your country of residence for some reason and you want to keep on being a freelancer there, you can invoice your company for works, for activities that you do to that company, and that's totally okay. And there's also the possibility of using Companio Work, as we mentioned. It's a service that allows you to be employed by your company, but the employer on record will be a company that is in your home country. So that means that while you're working for your Estonian company, it's a company in your country of residence. Imagine that you are, I don't know, a designer in France. It will be a French company that is paying for your salary, your social taxes. So you will get all the benefits of social taxes, social security, unemployment, pension, and all the regular, as if you were employed by a French company. And last but not least, if you're a digital nomad, meaning you don't have a tax residence, it works similarly to invoicing your company, but digital nomads must really be sure that they are non-tax resident in any country, so they don't have obligations with local tax authorities. So that's why we mentioned that it's advisable to consult a local tax advisor.
Yeah, great, thank you. So yes, please, if you've got any questions, please go ahead and type them in the Q&A session, and we'll gladly answer them for you.
There is one question from Stefan asking, how is it checked if the company name is taken? This is very, very cool. Estonia is a super digital country, so everything is digitalized, and that includes checking the name of the company in other countries, such as Spain, for example. This requires like making an official request to the tax office to ask if the name is taken or not, or the registry or something like that. In Estonia, there's the registry. You look for Estonian e-business register, and then you look there for the name of the company. If it's not taken, it's basically free. But if you do the registration through us, through Companio, we have the first step, is this field where you choose the name of the company. So we will tell you if the name that you have chosen is good, or you need to maybe look for another one, because this one can be taken, or there can be like a trademark that can make it difficult for you to use that name. How is it? We have this done, and then can you explain more the case of digital nomad salary? How do I invoice my company, and what is the address I put in the invoice, and can my bank account be anywhere? Well, there are some questions there. Digital nomads, this is a very kind of a tricky term, right? What is a digital nomad or what is not? When we say digital nomads, we mean people that don't have a tax resident. So if you don't have a tax resident, that means you're not a tax resident anywhere. So there is no tax office that is waiting for or expecting you to kind of fill in your personal tax reports with them, etc., etc. So if that happens, you can issue invoices to your company and receive that salary. And in that case, you should use your the address of your current location, as you were. But always be sure that wherever you are not having like a permanent establishment, or you are not becoming a tax resident in any country. Because if you do, in order to invoice your company, you cannot simply invoice your company. You need to do it as a freelancer or have a salary, as we mentioned in the other options. So you must be really certain that you are not considered a tax resident by this country or any other country. And that doesn't happen magically by simply taking a flight and moving somewhere else. There is like a process depending on the country. You may need to go to the tax office and fill in a series of forms, or just do like some kind of paperwork with the government. And can my bank account be anywhere? The bank account for the company, for the Estonian company, can be anywhere in the European Economic Area. So all countries in the EU basically, you can have the bank for your company there. We, however, always recommend that you opt for a fintech solution like Wise, Revolut Business, or solutions like that, because they are very easy to set up. They are totally online. You can operate completely online, and it's very, very convenient.
Yeah, and a personal bank account that can be anywhere.
Yes.
Yes.
Stella says, unfortunately, I joined a bit late, so I missed the beginning. Is there a recording? I think there's going to be a recording. Yes, and we will put it maybe in our YouTube channel. So yes,
yeah, it will be added to YouTube. Yes,
exactly. Okay. Stefan asks, I have an LLC in the US and still a business in Belgium. What is the benefit for having a company in Estonia then? Well, the company in Estonia, first of all, the benefit, the main advantage is everything is online. So wherever you go, it doesn't matter if you have a company in the US and another in Belgium. That means that you have some kind of location independent business. So that allows you to have like a paperless, a completely digital and online business that goes with you wherever you go. So that's super important. And also the fiscal system, the business system is very, very beneficial for, especially for people who are starting a new business, small startups that are just starting, freelancers and solopreneurs that are starting a business, because they have this very interesting fiscal system in which you don't pay taxes for non-distributed profit. So the profit, you only pay taxes actually when you distribute profit in the form, usually that takes the form of dividends or maybe salaries. In that case, you have to pay taxes. But in the meantime, or while there is no profit distribution, everything is tax-free, so to speak. So the taxation happens only when there is profit distribution. Oren is asking, let's say one uses employee company workers payment to receive a monthly salary as from your company. In many EU countries, it will mean one will be taxed like a normal working citizen. Would you advise a freelancer way or use company working situation? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Well, it depends a lot on your personal, that's a very interesting question, actually. And it depends a lot on your personal situation. There are countries that make it very difficult for people to be a freelancer, and they have very high taxes and it's a nightmare, a bureaucratic nightmare. And one of them is Spain, for instance, is the case that I know better. So in those cases, being a freelancer there is really a disadvantage. So in that case, you may want to become an employee and receive a regular salary from your company, and you are paying you're contributing to your social security, to unemployment, your pension fund and everything. However, if you imagine that you have a second activity in your home country that kind of justifies that you have this, you are a freelancer in that country, or you have a business in that country, in that case, and if you want to keep on doing this activity, it may make sense for you to still be a freelancer, for instance, in your home country, and then you can invoice your company. That will be the easiest solution. And Nestor is asking, do you provide certificate of tax compliance for the company? We do provide the certificate of tax compliance. This is usually not very often required, but we do provide that. And I think it has an extra cost that you can check in your pricing section. If you go to companio.co/pricing, you can see our prices, and there are some documents that need to be requested to authorities, and then there is an extra cost for them. So yeah. Can you explain a bit more about the non-distributed profit? I mean, I think you mean this thing with the profit or not profit. The Estonian system is super interesting for small entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and freelancers, because you know that in some countries you have to start paying taxes, a very high tax pressure from the very beginning, but Estonia kind of postpones this until you distribute dividends. So it's a way of investing in your business and allowing you to grow. So how does it work? Well, while you are earning money and you have expenses, you are charging your customers and offering them services or products. So you get money in, you pay for expenses. All this money is zero tax. So you may need to pay VAT. Obviously, if you're collecting VAT, you may need to pay VAT, but you don't have to pay any taxes. And then once your business has some traction, you are up and running, you are generating a lot of revenue, and then you have profit and you want to distribute this profit, then it's when you pay 20% of gross, which is a very standard rate in the European Union. So that means that imagine that you distribute 10,000 euros in dividends, so 20% is 2,000 gets paid as taxes, and 8,000 get to your bank account, so to speak. But this thing that you only pay that when you distribute profit changes everything, because you can really grow your business at the beginning without any tax pressure, and then when you're ready to start profiting from your business, you will be in the position of paying taxes, fair taxes for that. Stefan asks, so there's no corporate tax on the profit? Exactly, there's no corporate tax on the profit, only on the distributed profit. So that means that you can have like 1 million euros in revenue in your company, and you have zero expenses. You have 1 million euros in your corporate bank account. You don't pay taxes for that until you distribute part of that profit. Estela is asking a question that is very relevant. Can your company offer different services? I'm a coach and a photographer, or will I need separate entities for this? This is a super interesting question because in some countries, Spain is one of them, but many others in the European Union, if you want to do different activities, you need to declare these activities separately, and it can become very easily a nightmare in terms of bureaucracy and paperwork and all that stuff. Or even there are people who will rather open two different companies in this situation, right? So in Estonia, there is no such limitation. The Estonia asks for the main activity of your business. What is the main activity of your business? But they ask for this for statistical reasons. So they incorporate this information in the stats of the business environment, right? But you can do very different activities, as you mentioned, like being a coach, business coach, for example, and being a photographer, and you are distributing photographs and you are offering your services, interactive services as coach. So that makes total sense, and you don't need to declare anything separately. You can have everything together. So yeah. Okay. I think we got through all the questions, but feel free to ask anything else.
Yeah, please, if you've got any more questions, feel free to ask them.
Yeah. Some of these questions are very, I totally get them because before I had companies in other countries before going for Estonia, and I understand that in some places there are these things and these limitations that make it much more difficult for you to kind of start a business or become a freelancer. At the beginning, it's so complicated that this initial barrier can really make a difference on how your business grows, right? Henrik is asking, do you need a special license if you want to use the company for trading investments? Yes, unless you are using a broker, a licensed broker. Imagine that you are doing investments through a regulated platform, I'm thinking of peer-to-peer lending platforms such as Mintos. So your company opens an official corporate account in Mintos and starts trading or investing or whatever, and you are using a broker, a licensed broker. So you are not offering this service to third parties, so you don't need a license. Now, if that's the activity of your business, I want to open a business that allows trading and investment and offers this to other parties, to other businesses, then is when you require a license. So depending on whether it's crypto or not crypto, you have different licenses. There's an FFA license, which is for economical activities for fiat currency. And if you want to do this exchange of fiat crypto money, there's a license especially for that. And obviously, these licenses are very strict and very, they have like a due process in which you need to comply with a series of KML and AML and KYC, regulations. So it's kind of, it's a complex process, but it's totally doable. Estela is asking, I'm now a freelancer in Spain, and you mentioned it is a lot easier in Estonia. I would be curious, what are the main differences? Well, for starters, there's this thing that everything is super simple and easy to understand. You have this non-distributed profit thing, so you only pay taxes 20% when you distribute profit. There is no special taxation situations like if you are in Spain, you probably know about the retención, which is like a special tax that you need to charge at the beginning of your activity as a freelancer to other freelancers and businesses. It makes it much more difficult. And so really the legislation is super clear and easy to understand. There are no situations like in Spain. If you ask 5 accountants, I'm a freelancer working from home and I use my computer, so I have some electricity bills to pay. Can I deduct the electricity? And then if you ask 5 accountants in Spain, you will get 5 different answers, and probably the 5 will be completely different, right? So the system in Estonia is super easy to understand. So you will get a very definite answer like yes or no, or just 50%. And apart from that, the main advantage for Spanish freelancers is that you don't have a quota de autónomo, like this freelancing fee that you have to pay in Spain, which is up to starts like very small, but gets up to 300 euros or more every month. So that's a competitive advantage that you're having. You're not paying 300 euros every month just to have the privilege of being a freelancer, right? So it's, I will say that the differences are remarkable. Nestor is asking, for a company with only one employee, the owner, can you explain the difference of board director salary and employee salary? And when it's okay to have 100% employee salary? This employee and board member salary is something that was at the beginning. It was really more at the beginning of the residency program and how a business managed by a non-resident will work. Nowadays, it doesn't make much sense to make this difference. So the idea is that if you want to have a salary, simply use Companio work and get a salary, and you're paying for your social taxes and your unemployment and pension scheme and everything in your home country. You want to be a freelancer in your home country for some reason, you can invoice your company. So that's much easier and much more compliant. Oren is asking, I have heard that in Estonia, one can be able to take out up to 1,000 euros monthly for personal use. Actually, that is not true. You may have heard that there is one thing called daily allowance, which is an allowance that you get when you do business trips. So there was an early rumor or some kind of information saying that you could get 1,230 euros, which was the allowance for 1 month, if you were traveling continuously, but that's not true. The daily allowance can only be paid for a business trip that has sense, or has, it's like, imagine that you go to a conference in France, or you go to a summit in Germany, or you visit a customer in Italy, and you need to be there, the flight, accommodation, and everything. So for 5 days. So this trip, you get allowance for this trip, but you cannot use this allowance to be continuously traveling and kind of saying, no, I'm traveling constantly in a business trip. So that doesn't work. That's not, you should not give credit to that information. The four ways of getting the money out of the company legally were the 4 ones that Jonathan mentioned and we discussed. Estelle is asking, I may have missed this in the beginning. Do you need a fixed physical address connected to your business outside of Estonia? No, you don't. We offer, as part of our services, we offer a virtual office. Your business needs, as of now, an official legal address and person of contact in Estonia. But we provide this for free to our customers. As long as you are in one of our paid monthly plans, you get the virtual office included for free. So you don't need to worry about it. Okay. How to sell transfer shares in a company to someone who does not have any residency? What is the crowdfunding situation in Estonia? Well, to sell transfer shares in a company to someone who does not have any residency, it's there are 2 ways: the ugly way or the recommended way. The ugly way is you get this person to Estonia, you get this person on a plane, you land in Estonia, and you go to a notary and do it through a notary. We don't support that in Companio, because then this person will no longer be able to manage the company remotely or online. This person will always need to go to Estonia to a notary for whatever she or he or they want to do. So the best solution, the one that we recommend, is getting e-residency. It's 100 euros plus 20 euros in shipping cost, I think. It's valid for 5 years. Then you have to renovate it. It's super easy. They send it to your, probably there's a pickup location in your country if you are in Europe. So I will recommend your business partner or potential business partner to get e-residency. And the crowdfunding situation in Estonia, crowdfunding, if you mean as an activity for the business, crowdfunding is allowed as an activity, but again, you need to get this license, a special license for financial activities, because crowdfunding, it's like you are doing what's considered a financial activity, lending money, etc., etc. It falls into that category. So you need this license. Uh, Stella is asking if you can get health insurance too. That depends. If you employ yourself using Companio work, you will have access to public healthcare. If it's available in your country, you're paying for your social taxes. Imagine that you are in Italy, or well, you mentioned that you were in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. So the case of Spain, you start working with us, you apply for Companio work, and then you employ yourself in Spain, right? So your Estonian company will employ you, but it will be in Spain. So we will be paying for your social security, your unemployment, and everything. So you will have access to public health insurance. Now, you can always get private health insurance on top of that, and that's also an opportunity. Joaquin is asking, how does it work being a freelancer to declare the annual income statement if I'm a resident in Spain, but also an irresident? That's a good question. You have to understand that you are a different person from your company, right? So these are separated. So your company is initially based in Estonia, right? So pay taxes to the Estonian authorities when you distribute profit, as we mentioned. And now, when you as an individual receive this profit in your country of residence, we're talking about dividends here, right? If you receive this profit, you have to declare this in your annual IRPF. It's called in Spain, and your personal tax report for the tax authorities in your country. You have to report all this money that you have earned, and depending on your country, you will be taxed differently. Or in some countries, you don't have to pay taxes for individual dividends, and in some other countries, you need to pay taxes for that. So it's good to, but that will work exactly as if it was another company in your home country. And for salaries, it's the taxes will be paid included in the fee that we charge for Companio work for your employment. When you are employed by your company, we will take care of paying the social taxes and everything. So you will pay for them in a very simple invoice. So yeah. Position is asking how long does it take to build credit score in Estonia for a company to be able to count on financing from the bank? That depends from bank to bank, but this is not as in the US. It's more, it works more like in Europe. So basically, that requires you to prove some activity, some legitimate activity, to have like a track record of maybe revenue in your company and ideally profit too. And then you will build your credit score. That works exactly the same in most places in Europe. So that will apply to only, of course, it depends on the bank. So you will need to, there are Estonian banks that are more friendly to e-residents. One of them is LHV, and I will recommend you to check with them. And Oren is asking, what will be the process through Companio if along the way your company ends up foreign capital or have access to some form of credit, let's say for inventory, research, project, etc. Well, if you mean that you get capital as an investment or some kind of grant or funding from, I don't know, maybe the European Union or something like that for a project, an IT project or something like that, that's usually totally okay, as long as there's documentary support for that. So in the grants, usually the organization granting the funds usually issues some kind of invoice or receipt about that. We will need that, and if you have the project, like the official kind of briefing of the project and everything in your application, we may ask you for that, but it works exactly the same. Okay. Okay, I think we answered quite a lot of questions.
Yeah. Really great questions too.
Yeah, we had some very interesting questions there.
Definitely. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 2 more minutes. If a question pops into your mind, then we can answer it quickly. But in the meantime, I'm going to, there we go.
Okay. How long does it take to receive money from VAT return? For example, in Poland, it takes 60 days. Well, in Estonia, the VAT reports are prepared monthly. So that means that when you are collecting VAT or getting more VAT, so usually every month you have to pay VAT if you collected more VAT than you paid, or if not, if you paid more VAT than you collected, the government keeps this VAT something that they owe you. So if the next month you have to pay for VAT, instead of paying for the whole amount, they will reduce it by the amount that you have as a credit, so to speak. And then at the end of the year, they will, if there is VAT that you have that they owe you, they will give you this VAT. But you can also do like a request earlier before the end of the year to get this VAT. So it doesn't necessarily need to be there. As a reminder, Estonia is a country in the EU, so your company will have VAT. So then the most usual situation is that you deal with companies in Europe that have VAT numbers. So in this case, the invoice will be a 0% VAT invoice because intra-community charge will apply. So in that case, you should not add VAT. You will not pay for VAT, so you will not expect it to be returned or everything.
Great. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You've given us some some good questions and information for our YouTube channel. So
Yes.
thank you for that. And I hope we were helpful. And you know, if anything else comes up, please feel free to head over to the chat. Um, okay, we're offline now, but we are available from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. So please feel free to go over to the chat. My team is really, really happy to help with any questions that you might have. And if you stump them, that's even better because then we all get to learn together.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
if you want to start the process, it's as simple as going to companio.co and click on, there's a start button there, and you can start it in minutes. So thank you, everybody, for your being here.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ignacio.
Have a
See
great
you.
rest of the afternoon.
You too. Bye.